Yes, so now we are discussing about metal business. In that today we are discussing about how crane is made. A crane is a machine that is capable of raising and lowering heavy objects and moving them horizontally. Cranes are distinguished from hoists which can lift objects but that can't move them sideways. Cranes are always distinguished from conveyors that lift the move bulk materials such as grain and coal in a continuous process. The word crane is taken from the fact that these machines have a shape similar to that of the tall, long-necked bird of the same name. Cranes continue to rely on human or animal power until the middle of the 19th century, when steam engines were developed. By the end of the 19th century, internal combustion engines and electric motors were used to power cranes. By this time, steel rather than wood has used to build most cranes. What are the raw materials for crane making? The most important substance used for manufacturing cranes is steel. Steel is an alloy of iron and a small amount of carbon for structures that don't require very high strength. A common form of steel known as carbon steel is used. By definition, carbon steel contains less than 2% of elements other than iron and carbon. Carbon steel exists in a wide variety of forms. The most important factor in determining the properties of carbon steel is the amount of carbon present, which ranges from less than 0.015% to more than 0.5%. Design. Very few machines exist in as wide as a variety of designs as cranes. Before the crane is constructed, the manufacturer must consider the site where it will be used and the weight it will need to lift. Cranes are often modified to suit the needs of the user. Cranes used for industrial purposes are generally designed to remain permanently in one location. These cranes often perform repetitive tasks that can be automated. An important type of industrial crane is the bridge crane, traveling on tracks attached to two horizontal beams known as a bridge. A trolley enables the movement of the bridge crane. Usually, the bridge itself can be moved along a pair of parallel rails, allowing the crane to reach a large rectangular area. A bridge crane may also be designed so that one end of the bridge is supported by central pivot, while the other and moves on a circular rail, allowing a large round area to be reached. The manufacturing process. Making steel components. Molten steel is made by melting iron ore and coke in furnace, then removing most of the carbon by blasting oxygen into the liquid. The molten steel is then poured into large thick-walled iron molds where it cools into ingots. And next point is an external tower crane. The cables used to lift weights are made from steel wires. To make wire, steel is first rolled into a long rod. The rod is then drawn throughout a series of dies which reduce its diameter to the desired size. Several wires are then twisted together to form cable. Next point is assembling the crane. A crane is put together from the necessary components. As the crane moves along the assembly line, the steel components are welded or bolted into place. The exact procedures followed during the process vary depending on the type of crane being assembled. For a mobile crane, the components are then assembled to a standardized truck or crawler of the appropriate type. And next point is quality control. Safety is most important factor to be considered during crane manufacturing. An internal tower crane ensures that it has no structural flaws that would weaken the crane. Welds and bolts, joints are inspected as well. A completed crane is first tested without a weight to ensure that all of its components operate properly. It is then tested with a weight to ensure that the crane is able to lift heavy objects without losing stability. This is the information regarding how cranes are made. This is the information. So cranes are most important, especially in constructions, etc. So it is also profitable. But one thing is, suppose if you are having a very good capital intensity, then you can start a crane making business or crane making manufacturing also, crane making also. But if you are not having, likewise, you can become a marketer for cranes selling and all these. And if you are not having that much also, you can become a service engineer or driver to that cranes. Then you will be successful and you will get a very good income to do a good service also. So wishing you all the best.